Good afternoon and welcome to Evans Halshaw, and it looks like it's just about to bucket down. Thing is, it doesn't detract from the new Puma, and this is the 1 litre 3-cylinder with the manual box.
I'm Ben Quirk, welcome to Planet Auto. Good afternoon and welcome to the forecourt. Now, picture yourself back in the late 90s and over the brow of a hill comes, well, a silhouette of a coupe. The new Puma had entered the market. And then, in around mid-2000s, it disappeared again and then reappeared back in 2019 as an SUV. Because let's face it, SUVs were what everybody wanted. Practicality, versatility, ease of climbing into. It's agile, dynamic, versatile, and far more practical than the first coupe. Now I've painted the picture. This is the latest one, so it's the facelift. Now we saw the previous gen whilst we were at Goodwood, but I've never been behind the wheel of one until 2 days ago. Thank you, Evans Halshaw. And wow, I wouldn't call this an SUV. I call this a chuckable car. I mean, just look at its dynamics. I know it's crossover in name, but wow, it's got a real presence, especially on a B road, and you can have a heck of a lot of fun in a Ford Puma. Mind you, that's why the coupe was released. It was something new, but it still had that classic Ford feeling. You could even get a wide-bodied one. Now back to the SUV. You can tell at a glance that it really loves or is inspired by its heritage. Now when it comes to powertrains, there's two to choose from. 125 PS and then 170. And interestingly, that's only automatic. That's the one car I would have wanted with a manual. Now there is no diesel, there's no full hybrid, and there's no plug-in hybrid. And they're all 1 litre, 3-cylinder with mild hybrid technology. Now if you know anything about MHEVs, it's not got enough power to drive the car itself, but what it will do is assist with things like acceleration. And you can feel it. One of the standout features of one of these is the rasp of the 3-pot. They sound so cool, but I've always been a fan of 3-cylinder engines, since things like the Daihatsu Charade. Now the range starts at just under £26,000, and for that you'll get a titanium. Yeah, I never thought titanium would be a starter trim. You expect something like an L, but it means that it's pretty well equipped to start with. Things like LED front lights, lots of safety, and some sporty wheels. Also more minimalist style. Then you've got the ST line that soups it up with the ST body kit. Then you've got the ST line X, like ours, and that lifts the bar once again. Upgradable 19-inch alloys, LEDs front and rear, and cameras, etc, etc. And finally, you've got the ST. So the 170 PS, as I mentioned, also the auto box, but you get things like matrix headlamps. With Ford, you can pretty much make a spec that you want at the winter pack or a tech pack. It means there's a lot of versatility when you want to make your perfect Puma, which I think is pretty good. MPG, not bad. Just under 50 to the gallon. Now yes, on a back road it's going to be a little lower than that, but if you go in an eco run, wouldn't surprise me if you started seeing closer to 60. Now I love the way that it pays homage to the classic Puma. Can't believe I'm calling a 90s car a classic, but here we are. And even as an SUV, it's streamlined and more coupe-ish, but still offering versatility and practicality of a crossover. And it's got these lights as well, and this is what drew me to Puma back in the day. And it's still roughly got the same lines as well. It's just bigger, but it's no less fun. I mean, Fords back in the day used to have real flex to them, but that's what I wanted. I wanted something I could feel the driving experience. And with this, it's as close as you could get to with a modern car, considering this is built on the Fiesta platform, which also, I suppose, explains some of its agility. This has a manual as standard. As this is the facelift, they've done some minor tweaks as well. Changes with the grille. Also, the Ford badge has been moved down here and has the nice big glowing one. It does look like it's almost illuminated. The ST body kit really makes an impact, especially in this cactus grey. This is an option. It'll cost you around £800, but with the black, well, it's immense. The shaping round here and that splitter. Talk about aggression. Otherwise, it looks a bit cuddly Puma. LED lights, high beam assist. You can add matrix headlamps too. Safety galore. Lane departure warning, AEB, mitigation systems, sensors, cameras, convenience, all the things that you need. Great visibility throughout, and even things like the A-pillars. Not too chunky. Now we've got the uprated 19-inch alloys, otherwise this would come with 18s. And yes, they are a low profile tyre. So in a nice piece of road, it's amazing how quiet this can be. Colour-coded arches, mirrors and door handles. And the lack of chrome, bar the emblem, it just makes it look, dare I say it, sinister. I really do like Puma. One-piece windows, so no quarter light, and I do like these sporty side skirts, especially with the black gloss. If you like this type of video, why not subscribe to the channel? You just hit the button on the right hand side. It's free and you'll get an alert every time we upload. Also, if you do like the video, why not give it a like? It all helps and it means we can get more cars. Thank you. It's certainly got sleek styling and dynamic looks. Let's take a look inside. Keyless entry. The door opens nice and wide and padded areas. This is hard, this is lovely. The shaping here really impresses me and the red stitching in all this is quite plush. Now one omission I find strange, no grab handles. Not just here, but nowhere. Decent sized door pocket, and I've just noticed that we've got doors that cover the sills too, and that's always a nice addition. An ST line kick plate. Climbing in, well, looks to be child's play. I have to duck down, but apart from that, it's pretty good. Now you might be questioning why I'm so close to the dash. It's because when I drive a car like this, one that I feel really truly engaged with, I like to be relatively close. Makes me feel more connected with the car. Now the interior I like, and I think it's where some of the biggest changes have occurred. For example, the screen is no longer here. You've now got the Sync 4 unit here, and it looks far better being integrated in a big digital cluster. And if you've noticed, it's more rectangular than the previous one. No, they've really transformed this. Now, what's missing? Does it remind you of a Mercedes-Benz to a point? Correct, Eduardo from Pontefract. There's only one stalk. Now, the question is, why? Maybe it's because there's an electric Puma coming, which means the shifter will be there because it's built on MEB. Watch this space. Right-hand side, very simple to control your lights, and I think that's about it. This is cool, nice and easy to clean and looks smart. And yes, a sound bar. So once again, we've got a B&O sound system and it sounds immense. Nice and solid, like it. That's the thing, Fords of old used to have real flex in their doors. My Orions, wow. And for a start, the door cards started falling off at points. But the construction nowadays with a Ford is pretty damn good. Even the center console, I can rock the car. No unnecessary creaking either. The 6-speed manual, and it is lovely, but I'll leave that to the driving section. And what's that? I know, an old school handbrake. I can now see why things like Pumas, Dukes, etc. sell, because it's been one of their top sellers for years. Push button start, you can turn off your start stop, you've got your camera, and you've got your heated windscreen. But that's where your buttons and rotaries end. Wireless charger, lots of little cubby holes here, and we've also got, wow, that sounded like a, I wonder if that's inherently built in to sound a bit like a Puma. Oddments tray, storage point underneath. Also, it's too far back, solved. Cup holders, storage point, storage point, storage point, USBs, and yes, I almost forgot, foolish Ben, a proper volume dial. Now the rest is all controlled through the infotainment screen, but Sync 4 is a damn good system. It's responsive, I mean we've used it in Explorer, Cougar, and it's very easy to use. Everything from Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, settings, apps, Wi-Fi, blah blah blah. Everything you need. I've got the new cluster, and if I press the startup button, rather smart. Nice and clear, concise. You've got your computer in the middle. As we've got ST Line X, we've also got things like heated seats and a heated steering wheel. This is very straightforward to use. You just press this to bring up the fan system. And then you can choose heat, cold, airflow, and things like demisters. It's got DAB too. Getting to the home screen, very simple, even on Apple CarPlay. Lovely buckety seats, rather sporty too. And Neo. Yes, that thing out of the Matrix. I think that refers to the black. Also the red stitching just gives it a really sporty look. Both seats are manual, but they're very comfortable. And I've got height adjustment. There's also height adjustment on the passenger side, as well as lumbar. Great driving position. Surprisingly, no footrest, but you do have reach and brake adjustment in the steering wheel. The steering wheel, the bone of contention. I love it. Yes, it does remind me of things like the Allegro. But that's a cool thing, isn't it? But I think it suits the car, and it's pretty good when you're doing some dynamic driving. One stalk does everything. Your wipers, your lights, etc, etc. Proper buttons on the steering wheel, you're adaptive, and you can go through your cluster. Very straightforward. Headroom, about an inch. So it's not got the most headroom, but it's 6'3", seems to be perfectly fine for me. Buttons for your panoramic, map reading lights, and an auto dimming mirror. Glove box, not bad. Pretty impressive for a modern car. And I think that's your lot. Let's take a look in the back. I almost forgot. What I'd like to see in the next iteration is adjustable seat belts. Also, this displays Puma and has Puma puddle lights too. It really looks the part from the side. And the 5-door designation works really well. Sometimes vehicles look a bit, it's kind of almost stuffed in, but with this, it flows extremely well. A really sporty silhouette, which harks back once again to the first gen of Puma, or the first model of Puma rather. It's a bit like the new Capri. It may be electric, but it still has that shaping that you saw on the rear of the Capri's back window. And it's important to carry that over, especially if you're going to use the same nameplate. We've got discs on the front, but interestingly, drums on the rear. Let's take a look in the rear. The door opens nice and wide, and yes, a lot of hard plastics. Not even a padded armrest on the ST Line X. In future iterations, it'd be nice to see that at least padded. But you've got a door pocket and a speaker. Climbing in, I have to duck my head, and I have noticed this seat's quite high up, but even at 6'3", I can get in relatively easily. Recessed area, map pocket, and I can get my feet under the seats. Now, Puma's never been the roomiest of SUVs, but with my stature, as you can see, it is doable. Headroom. Well, because we've got the sunroof, I've got about an inch. With a bit of roof, it's pretty close, but as long as you're not, even if I tilt over, it only just catches. But yeah, it's ample. Ooh, look. Cool. Panoramic with a bar in the center. Thing is, it allows a lot of lighting, but that's not really a challenge for Puma. It may have slim windows, but they do stretch quite a distance. And sat like this, I've got a great view out the window. You've got a coat hook and a mini window here. Love that. Comfortable seats. They're not the most buckety, but they match the front. No pull down armrest, but no, it's rather comfortable. The bench does feel a little bit short, especially with my legs, but the angle of the rear rest, well, it's perfectly fine. But there is no recline. In a nutshell, this would be perfect for a young family. Ticks a lot of boxes in the SUV lineup. It's just when you get to my size and height, then maybe you're better going for the Cougar. Nice to see a 12 volt, some USBs and a rear light. And I think that's about your lot. No, ISOFIX point and airbags around the vehicle too. Right, let's take a look at the rear. That just speaks for itself. I love this curvature that the rear lenses jut out. It's rather muscular over these rear haunches too. Puma in a nice bold font, and the new badge once again. It's rather smart. And don't forget that rear diffuser styling, very nice. Finally, shark fin aerial, a sporty rear spoiler, and parking sensors and a reversing camera. Packs. We can get everything from the winter pack, the tech pack, as I mentioned, and that adds things like a 360 camera. The release is here. Oh, power tailgate, unexpected. Nice to see you've got the lights up here, so when you're loading, etc., people will be able to see you coming up the road. Now, let's just test this. It's not the softest, but it does stop, so that's good. Yes, a boot lip, but if there wasn't one, you wouldn't have a boot. Now you'll get easily a month and a half's worth of shopping in here and some suitcases. And watch for the party trick of the Puma. Mega box. That is amazing. Just think, if you take your floor out, you'd be able to carry, I don't know, cheese plants, cactuses. It's outstanding. And it's definitely one of the strongest points of Puma. Shopping bag hooks and a light. And if you've noticed, strong, solid tethering points. 12-volt socket, so you're sorted for your dash cam. I do love the way that this slides into here as well. Quite a solid floor too. To drop the seats, it's located on the top. Just press the button and slowly pull and it will come. Now it's not completely flat, but it's pretty damn close. And with the floor at this height too, it's virtually a flat loading area. It's a lot bigger than you expect, Puma. No parcel shelf per se, but this, I mean, 9 times out of 10, you won't need to move it. But if you do want to move it out, you can just lift this up and it unclips very easily by pushing up and it slides out. Let's take a look under the bonnet. The release is located just down here on the left-hand side, and just pull once. To release, just pull this to the right. It's quite a heavy bonnet. Relatively straightforward to see where to top up the fluids. It would have been nice to see the yellow caps once again. Good to see a proper engine, a 1 litre EcoBoost, and the sound it makes. You've got to love it. Time to see how it drives. Welcome behind the wheel of arguably the best crossover in the world. Rapid, and more to the point, a 3-cylinder. So a 1 litre EcoBoost. And because it's mild hybrid, it's got a little electric motor and a battery. But it's not got pure electric mode like the Duke Hybrid. The thing is, it does assist with acceleration, and you can feel it. I do love a manual, and they're few and far between nowadays. But I think the thing that stands out most about the Puma to me is it feels more like a car, the way it handles. Is that surprising? Not really when you think it's built on the Fiesta platform. Wheel spinach?
Just a little.
Considering it's got 125 PS, it can pull. So you can get manuals and you get automatics. You can also get an ST. Interestingly, ST is only automatic.
Look at that fudge, people.
It's agile, it's dynamic. No, this is great fun. Nice weighty steering. Oh, bit of water around here.
Oh, it's
very good brakes, even though the rears are drums.
Oh, I see, you want it to stop as well as it goes.
Yeah. But look, there's the car it's built on. A Puma stays stuck to the road, and it can really handle. I'm going to go into second.
Would you say easy right, into left? That's how it's bloody Ooh.
I think I can feel a touch of regen, and that's in every gear. It feels more than engine braking. Mind you, mild hybrid makes sense, wouldn't it?
And you're loving it, aren't you?
Well, it feels nice and weighty, and it's like stuck to the road as well, which is quite interesting considering it's not an EV or a bigger hybrid with, you know, a few kilos of batteries under its weight.
Yeah, it's well planted, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. But Fiesta was always a rather impressive handling car. But I think, well, yeah, especially things like the STs.
Yes.
But this, I think, has more of a presence.
Ooh.
I mean, feel the suspension. It's comfortable, but it holds the road like nobody's business. I suppose it's what you call pliable, isn't it? You could have a lot of fun in this. But it's still big enough to whack the family in as well. Economy, I'm still getting 41. It boasts close at 50, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The other thing that I like about the EcoBoost is the fact that it's a 3-cylinder, but it doesn't unnecessarily vibrate. So many, especially at junctions and that, you can feel it. And refinement in the cabin. Blend of acceleration, the handling. And let me stress, the handling's not to the point that it's uncomfortable for driver and passenger. It doesn't blow around in the wind either. Safety. Everything you could think of. I think the only thing that is missing on this is probably a heads-up display. But it's a crossover. You don't really see it on this
On the left.
segment of vehicle, do you? We've got adaptive cruise, we've got AEB, we've got mitigation systems, serious overwatch, sensors, cameras, clusters nice and straightforward, and you can see your speedo, your revs, etc, etc. And you can have media and your economy, etc, all showing up in the middle. 83%. Does that mean I'm accelerating 83% harder, or It says it's green, so it's impressed with my driving. Baselines, banging system. Gear shifting's 34%. Could be better.
Overall, we give you a B+, Ben.
Speed 99%. Does that mean the top end?
No, I think it means you've stuck within the speed limits.
Oh, that's pretty good then, isn't
Yeah.
it? What stands out to me is the way it almost feels like the old school Fords. It's got like flex in the chassis, so you can feel it more so than, well, a lot of modern cars. You know, you can literally feel it, like, as I mentioned before, chuckable. If you do want to go nice and moderate, it's a really nice car to drive because it shifts through the gears so easily. Nice short shift. Gear changes smooth as butter.
Well, I found it seamless when I was pootling around.
Yeah, and it makes all the difference, even with 125 PS, that it's 6-speed. You just got that, I suppose, like overdrive eco gear. Just going to engage cruise control. So I think it's a one-button touch system. Yes, you literally press this and then change your distance, and then you can increase your resistance or slow it down, etc. No, it's a pleasure to drive the Puma, and that's whether pootling around villages or zipping up and down the motorway, or my favourite, the B road. And it's a decent price. It starts at 25,000. Decent power through the gears, and you can feel that motor. Even in third, fourth, fifth, it still pulls. Very nice. On that note, thanks for watching, and yeah, go out and drive a Puma. Tick so many boxes.